Welcome back, you Degenerates, to the #1 fantasy football podcast in the world. I'm your host, Mike, with my dearest of friends, Joe Green and Billy the Wilson, the kid. I changed it up today because I'm working on my vocabulary, so I have to learn how to talk to people. So let's kick this off. Billy, how are you doing?
I am well, Michael. I am very well. It's Thursday. We're going to have to watch some football tonight. I'm excited.
Fuck, it's Thursday. I didn't even know it's Thursday. And I gotta watch football tonight. Joe Green, are you swell?
I'm liking that you put me ahead of Billy. That was a nice change up there. I felt like was that like a trade deadline thing? Like, you traded spots maybe. So
I don't know. I just your head is above his in this in this
this
type
call.
call, so I just came to my head. Lots of news. We had the trade deadline. A lot of players are traded. This is one of probably the most action we've seen during the trade deadline. I feel like every year it's getting bigger and bigger, more like the NBA, which I love to see. So Billy, let's kick us off with some trades.
Yeah, like you said, it was one of the biggest ones to date. Let's start it off slow and let's build our way up here. Yep. First, last week we saw Kadarius Toney go to the Chiefs. Great news for Kadarius Toney because that trade instantly healed all of his injuries, and he'll be on the field this week. Next, Jeff Wilson to the Dolphins, another 49ers running back meeting up with their old coach, and hopefully they make Tua throw the ball less if you're going against Tua every week. Next, Chase Edmonds, the most useless trade so far, to the Broncos. Somehow the Broncos won last week, and Hackett gets to keep his job, and I don't know what the Broncos are doing, really, but that's neither here nor there. Broncos also traded Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins in a separate trade. I don't know. That was separate, right?
No,
separate.
Same trade.
It was the same trade?
Yeah, it was a throw-in.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So a couple bigger names being moved. Chase Claypool goes to the Bears, and Nyheim Hines to the Bills, which is something that we really like. Two more. If you're in dynasty leagues, Calvin Ridley goes to the Jaguars. It's a move that'll be used later on.
It's a gambling move for you.
Yeah, it's definitely a gambling move. And then T.J. Hockenson to the Vikings, the 6-1 Vikings. Get another weapon on their offense.
Yeah, they're making moves. Green Bay being so shit this year, so
yeah.
We'll talk about all these trades during the weekly plays. If the Giants, Cowboys, the 49ers, Steelers, Browns, and Broncos all have buys. So I don't believe any of those trades really impact those teams, except for 49ers. They obviously traded Jeff Wilson, but they got CMC the previous week. So it doesn't quite matter.
Yeah, and I don't think that Chase Edmonds is really going to be fantasy valuable at all.
I don't either.
No.
So I think that we're good as far as bye weeks go.
But it's hell week, so make sure you have your waiver wires. The waiver wire video is key for the stream plays. We have Evan Ingram this past week, but there's a ton out there that you need to add.
Yeah, another late injury was Keenan Allen saying that he most likely isn't going to play this week. So another waiver wire I wanted to add was DeAndre Carter as well. I know you had Joshua Palmer.
Yeah.
But now they have neither one of their starting two wide receivers, so they're still going to throw the ball. I like DeAndre Carter as well.
Everett's good, so I feel like he would be a huge play this week.
Yeah, Everett's like a top 10 tight end, so I do think that he's owned in most leagues.
Mm-hmm,
one league, he was on my waiver wire, and I scooped him up real quick, and I'm back.
That's insane.
Because I dropped him during the bye week, and then immediately I was like, here we go, he's back, baby.
Yeah. Hate to see it. Let's kick off the matchups first. We have Sunday. Where's the Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Today's Thursday. No
Come
point
on, Mike.
on a game.
Who's playing tonight? Who's playing tonight?
The Eagles, Texans.
Eagles and Texans.
That's why we don't have to say anything. Next up, we have Sunday. Bills versus the Jets. Bills versus the Jets. We have the second week for Robinson going into his playbook. How do you feel like he's going to be? You feel like is there any impact on this game on his second week play, and Is he going to see more snap count?
I think the snap count goes up. I think he's not really going to produce at all because the Bills are a stout run defense. So I don't think it's like the week to play James Robinson. It might be the week to trade for James Robinson after this week.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, well, he's useless on the Jets now. But there's definitely some trade value there that you can buy low on. So that's kind of why I threw that in there. I do think he's going to start seeing 12, 14 carries a game. I don't know if it's this game, but I like him moving forward for sure.
I feel like
I would say.
Oh, what are you gonna say, Jordan?
I was gonna say, like, I agree, Bill, because their playoff schedule is kind of juicy. Like, you look at, they got Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle. Those are teams that rank in the bottom half of the league in terms of rushing yards per game allowed. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's a good buy low candidate, but I probably wouldn't expect much until then. So if you're, looking like a playoff lock, that's probably a good buy low candidate.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the Bills are just going to be up on him so much that they're going to have to play Michael Carter over him. Obviously, passing downs, they're going to have to play catch up the whole game. So that's my impact on this game. Hines, what's your thoughts on Hines going to the Bills?
I love Hines going to the Bills. He's kind of what the Bills needed. I should say, I'm saying we, like I'm the number one Bills fan in the world.
Bills Mafia.
Bills Mafia, it's a pass happy team. Almost, if not leads the league in passing attempts. They don't really have a running back who's just a bruiser. That was supposed to be Zach Moss. He stinks. He's gone. But Hines, you can see him getting 5-6 targets a game, along with a couple rushes a game. Kind of like, because he's better than Singletary is, pass catching wise. Singletary can do it, but they went out and got him because he's leaps and bounds better than Singletary is in the passing game. So I really like the value for Hines a lot.
I just don't see the impact, like, overall. Like, in fantasy wise, like, do I see him catching that many passes when they have so many weapons on this offense? And Singletary, like, obviously Hines is a better pass catcher back, but Singletary and him are very, like, similar size, weight. It's just I didn't like the trade at all. It's not my opinion.
The skill level's different though. Like, size and weight only go so far. Yeah. Like, if you're just better at something, like, you're gonna get playing time.
I felt like if the Bills should have traded for a different running back, just not. I mean, trading for Hines. I mean, I'm sure they got him for cheap, but it's just not there. Fantasy wise, I don't think it's there either for me. I don't see him.
I'm on the opposite side. I think, especially during weeks like this, he's definitely a flex play for sure.
I think that's probably his what you're
ceiling.
hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I guess ceiling would be the word, but like flex play, I think, he's not like Austin Eckler, so to say. Like, he's kind of like a Walmart version of that, where it's like
Walmart
he
version?
might get
That's
you.
Fucked up.
I mean, well, like, let's be honest.
Could have said
like,
Target or something.
Sorry, the Target version of Austin Eckler.
Yeah,
but like,
just
Austin
being disrespectful to the man.
Austin Eckler is someone who demands like 7 to 10 targets a game. Like, Nyheim Hines, maybe like 5, 6, and you're just hoping he gets a touchdown, and then that's like a sprinkle on top of what could be a 15, 16 point day. But yeah, flex play is probably about right.
Yeah.
Well, I see you wrote that Dawson Knott's possible start of the week. Jets averaging 8.4 targets. The tight ends, third most in the league.
Yeah, a little bit of this is also me speaking this into existence, but I do like the matchup. Jets defense has been good, but they do struggle covering the middle a little bit. They don't let up many touchdowns to tight ends, which kind of worries me because, especially that position, tight ends a little touchdown dependent. But
especially for Knots.
Yeah. But like I said, the ball's got to go somewhere. The Jets are better than people think they are. I think this is it's a division game. Could be close. Probably not. The Bills just seem to be destroying everybody this year. So.
All right, that gets it off for this game. Next up, we have the Raiders versus the Jaguars.
The Raiders.
The shit ball over here.
I'll be at the shit bowl.
You're going to be there?
Yeah, I'll be there.
God damn.
Watching the tank for Bryce Young bowl.
Tua Jr.?
No, definitely not. Don't want that.
That's what he is.
That's exactly what he is.
He's a dumbed down. He's a target version of Tua.
Target version.
He's not good.
He's a. All right, I think the best thing we have to talk about this game is Travis Etienne going forward. He is being explosive out there. He's looking like one of the best running backs in the league right now. He's breaking tackles, obviously making plays. He has insane cuts on the outside, and obviously Peterson, the coach out there, he's game planning perfectly with him. Going forward, what do you think he's going to be?
RB1, baby. Top 12 running back. He's going to finish as he's leading the league in yards per carry at 6.2. He's actually tied now after Tony Pollard had a massive week. But over like the stretch of like the amount of work he's getting, he's leading.
He's going to lead.
Yeah. Listen, good run defense, bad run defense. It hasn't mattered for Travis Etienne. He just finding holes and breaking through. Quick fact: Raiders give up the 5th most PPR points to running backs. Maybe another smash spot. Could be a play of the week. You know, I love Travis Etienne rest of season. If you don't own him,
what is his rank right now?
I think it's 18.
Oh, he's gonna finish. If he's 18 right now, he's gonna finish top 10 on the end of the season.
He
easily
is 19. Sorry.
I still think he'll get into the top 10.
Yeah, it's been a slow year. Just for offenses in general. It was a weird week last week because everybody scored 30 points in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Every team scored 30 points, and it's a little suspicious if you ask me. But
winter's coming. No one wants to tackle no more.
Joe Green. I was just gonna ask you, what's the deal with the Raiders? Give us a breakdown. What's happening there?
They got a 0 last week.
Yeah. Well, that was so predictable because they were going against Dennis Allen, who's their old coach, and I think a lot of people, Raiders fans, know this, that Dennis Allen and Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, absolutely hate each other. Like Mark Davis just flipped off Dennis Allen before, so Dennis Allen was going to stick it to him. But I think the more like the bigger thing here, fantasy related, is just Josh McDaniels just being a terrible coach. Like you don't put up 0 points with that much talent and guys like who are proven, like not like, Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football. Yeah, I know he had the flu, but like you throw it to him 3 times, you have 3 design plays for him. Renfro doesn't even exist. I know Waller was out. Like this is a coaching thing. This isn't like guys aren't playing well. It's like they're not playing well because you don't draw up the right plays. You're throwing to fucking Mac Hollins 7 times a game over the best receiver in football. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Matt Collins might be that guy. He might be him.
I mean, Josh McDaniels is trying to make him. That's for sure. Not pretty though. If you own, I mean, Waller's been a disaster. Renfro obviously doesn't even exist. You hope Adams picks it up, but other than Jacobs, pretty ugly year. Our video of Carr keeps going viral every week. Every week, Billy, someone comments. I'm like, yeah, this will live in infamy. Like, people love it. They're like, I'm so happy this aged like milk. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure you are.
Listen, before we go any farther, you can't hit every single hot take.
I mean, I can't.
3 out of 4 ain't bad.
No, listen, it happens. Everyone has bad takes. Look, our buddy Sal on, not Sal, our Mike, you love this guy, the guy who talks about Treylon Burks being a top player of the year. 7 of his 9 guys aren't even like playing. They're all hurt or
they're all hurt.
Terrible.
My top guy's a top 7 running back. I mean, what are we talking about here?
I mean, this is probably the best season I've had with Hicks. Not bragging, but it could go either way. Like, to say that the Raiders scored 0 last week, you would have been like, you're insane. With that
everybody but Joe Green would think we're insane.
Yeah, like that talent on the offense, like, come on, you couldn't, and you have one of the top kickers in the league as well. You couldn't even kick a field goal.
They didn't cross the 50-yard line until Jared Stidham was in the game in garbage time. Oh,
wow! The best part is week in and week out, Mike talks about how good his kicker is, and then
he has a fat 0.
Puts up a goose egg.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What do you think, Jacobs? Do you think he obviously wasn't traded, which they should have traded him?
Yeah.
You think obviously this should be a good matchup for him? I mean, he's showed majority of the year that he's been a good player.
He's the only one who's playing well. Yeah, I feel confident in him. Actually, the one thing the offensive line is good at is run blocking. Terrible, worse than the NFL at pass blocking. But they're actually like top 15 when it comes to run blocking. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. I wish he would have been traded. I really do. I was hoping the Bills would get him, but yeah, I'm not too worried about him.
Yeah, that would be huge. Bills had him.
Yeah,
that would be the running back that I would think they would have traded for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have too. The Raiders would. If I was the Raiders, I would have traded him for a second or a third. Like that, I think that would have been fine. You weren't going to pay him anyway, but losing for nothing now.
All right, let's get this going. Chargers versus the Falcons. Allen hurt his hamstring injury again. Like I said in my waiver wire video, why did you play the wide receiver and said that he was good to go, and then he missed the second half of the game when they were down? They just said that he pulled them. Now he's most likely not going to play this week. Joshua Palmer, huge play. Carter, huge play, and so is Everett. All are going to be huge plays going into this week. And then, like, who else is out there? Like, do you think this offense can actually be good? I mean, they don't have to. They don't have a hard competition going against the Falcons this week. But going forward, I think this really hurts the team.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried this week about the Chargers themselves. I think they pull this one out because the Falcons are absolute dog shit against the pass. They'll be able to do whatever they really want to. I think they'll just kind of dump it off to Eckler. It's going to be a huge game for Eckler. Absolutely huge. Probably 35, 40 points again, like he has been all year, to be honest with you. Right in your Gerald Everett touchdown tickets now. I love that. But yeah, going forward, this is brutal. You know, Keenan Allen hasn't played since week 1, and Mike, he didn't get hurt in that game. He got
I know
hurt
that
practicing during the bye.
Also, why didn't he play the full game if they were down?
Because they
didn't
were
want to hurt him.
They were kind of using him as a decoy, and then just not good. Mike Williams gets hurt. It's just not great.
They also were getting smoked. Weren't they down like 37-10 at one point? It was
it was not pretty.
In scoring, they came close. Not like
came close.
That close.
They lost 37-23. It wasn't that.
But the game was closer. Like if you watched it, the game was closer. Like in the beginning of the second half, it was a lot closer.
Yeah. Quick note.
I'd be. Oh, go ahead.
No, just to kind of further the point of Gerald Everett. Falcons are averaging just under 7 receptions and 69 yards a game to tight ends.
I'd be concerned that Keenan Allen does not play for another 4 weeks. I think that's what I'm saying. I think it's very concerning that he heard it, and he said it got worse, way worse in the bye week from training, and that he said he won't play again until he's 100%. I'm concerned. I mean, if you own Keenan Allen, you're probably really fucked right now because he's a second-round pick. But this is like you're lucky if he's back for playoffs for you.
Yep, I traded Cortland Sutton for Keenan Allen and thought I had a steal, and it looks like that backfired on me pretty hard. So,
I think that if Chargers lose, like let's say 3 more games in a row. I mean, I don't think they lose against the Falcons, but let's say they lose a couple of games in a row and they're out of playoff.
They're going to shut him down.
They're going to shut him down. Same thing with Mike Williams. This is exactly why I picked up Palmer this week. Huge pickup. I think that if you have Palmer, he's going to ended up being a wide receiver 2 for your team.
Yeah, I agree.
He's talented too. Like a lot of people get thrusted into these roles and they're not. I'm trying to think of receivers we've seen get thrusted into these roles and they're not really good enough to be. And like Joshua Palmer is really a really talented guy. I think I'm more concerned for Justin Herbert. If you own Justin Herbert, everyone thought he was quarterback 2 this year. He's been absolutely anything but that. And now he's without his top 2 weapons or receiving weapons outside of Eckler. Yeah, you're in bad shape.
Line.
Yeah, and he still has the rib injury. I'm sure that hasn't gone away. He's been taking hits every single week. I mean, you probably need to look to trade for a quarterback at this point.
Yeah, what's funny, when we talk later about the Bengals, I was getting ready to just talk shit about how great my quarterback rankings were, and I saw that I had Justin Herbert at 3. I was like, I can't fucking do that now, can I? Like everything else is pretty spot on except for Justin Herbert's 3, and I'm like, shit.
Bad
I
year.
see you have a bunch of notes for the running backs for the Falcons. Patterson is back this week.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He is back.
He says he's about 90%, and that was on Wednesday, so he's gonna play, I think, no matter what.
Okay.
All right, is that it?
Yeah.
Good with that? Cool.
Yeah.
Colts versus Patriots. Kick us off, Bill. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen. Ramondre Stevenson. Absolute stud. Mike is kicking himself, man. Let me tell you. He was so afraid to give up a 5th-round pick for him.
And
I can't do it. It's got to be a 6th. I can't do it.
I don't have a 5th.
Look at me.
I would have to go get one.
That's what I said. Go get one. You want this guy? I know you want this guy. Go get him. People are giving out picks left and right. Me just sitting here, eating, happy as a clam. I really don't know why they're even letting Damian Harris see the field anymore. I really don't. Stevenson's clearly the better guy. Averaging 16.8 PPR points per game. The average is 8th among running backs. Total of 7th in total points on the year. He's an absolute stud. Getting all the receiving work. He's, I think, 7 a game the past 3 weeks. You can't ask for more than that. For what used to be a murky backfield is clear as day. Clear as day.
Looking like that Bahama water, right? The Bahamas, that crystal clear. You could see to the bottom of the sand. That's what it's looking like.
Oh yeah,
I'm so upset.
See when the little fishies.
This is how much I care about football. I watched the draft and I said they drafted him. I said he's gonna be a stud.
Yeah.
Remember? And I said I went last season. I said this might be my rookie of the year. It came up slow. He ended up being good, and now look at him.
I know you shouldn't have hopped off the bandwagon, buddy. You shouldn't have hopped off. You got to stay on them sometimes.
It's crazy. JT he hasn't practiced the last 2 games. It doesn't look good that he's going to play on Sunday as of right now, which is kind of crazy that they traded Hines. Moss might end up being a play there.
Deion Jackson's still way better.
Jackson too. Yeah. I'm not saying for fantasy wise. Jackson had a huge week when he filled the shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I will say
a nightmare.
I just don't understand the trade when you have a hurt running back.
Well, they're done. Their season's over. They went to Sam Ellinger. They're not going for playoffs. They're just like, we'll take what we can get. But I want to say, our Jonathan Taylor take about him versus Christian McCaffrey has aged worse than that Derek Carr one. I mean, like it's looking pretty rough. Like Jonathan Taylor has been actually what we thought Christian McCaffrey would be, which is hurt all the time. I mean, he's played 3 games and he's had 1 good one. Like he's
never been hurt in his career. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, McCaffrey, there's a stat out there. McCaffrey last week had more fantasy points than Jonathan Taylor had, I think, since week 2 or week 1. It's like, oh my God.
No, I own Jonathan Taylor in 1 league. And we'll get into the trades that I've been offered this week below. It's embarrassing. Outside of him scoring 28 points in week 1 in PPR formats, he's been under 10 points every week, and it's just been brutal. So McCaffrey could have scored more points last week than he has all season. Very well could have been. It's been bad.
It was. It was like McCaffrey's 40-point week was more than Jonathan Taylor has scored since week 2. I'm almost positive was the statistic, which is so disgusting to read when we thought he was such a safe play, and he's just been hurt.
I've gotten a lot of shit from a lot of people about that. I had a bunch of friends who had the number 1 pick, and I'm like, oh, you got to go Taylor. It's just if you want to go risky, you go Cooper Kupp, but like you got to go Taylor. Like,
I think we have to blame Matt Ryan for this, right?
No. Like injuries
he's hurt. I mean, every running back he's ever had got hurt.
That is fair. That is fair.
Early's career is over.
And then this way he can keep throwing the ball. You know,
Right,
a little
right.
conspiracy theory. I don't hate it.
I like it. I like that one.
All right. So if you're a Jonathan Taylor owner, you understand my pain. Your DMs have been lighting up with offers like Aaron Rodgers and Julio Jones for Jonathan Taylor. Justin Herbert straight up for Jonathan Taylor. Brandon Ayuk. And I wanted to take it, and then he backed out. I was like, I'll do it.
I would take Ayuk, yeah.
I would too. I was like, I will. And he saw how fast I jumped at it. I was like, nah. I'm like, all right, Taysom Hill and Kirk Cousins. And there's like 3 more. I can't do it.
I would take Taysom Hill as well.
I can't do Taysom Hill. I refuse to. I own Kamara in 2 leagues, and I refuse to.
Yeah, because he's not a tight end. He's a running back.
Yeah, I hope he gets hit by a bus. I can't. I'll never have Taysom Hill. I won't do it. I don't care how good he is.
Too much integrity.
Yeah.
I swear, having the first pick in fantasy is the worst thing ever. Like, there's no pick worse than first.
Listen, the best thing that ever happened to me was getting the first overall pick and not having a first round pick. Because it's always the first pick that fucks you. Not having it, you still get, all that movement. I like it.
Yeah. One last thing about this Patriot game, just want to point out, Myers, another 10 points. Love you.
Well over 10
21,
points.
right?
20 points. Yeah. 21 points.
Told you, if he just gets the touchdown, then he's going to be a top 15 round.
No take you've had this year has aged better than that one, Mike. Like, Jacoby Myers has absolutely aged like fine wine. Put that shit in the Hall of Fame, because that one really is that's a resume builder.
Him and Prescott.
I mean, it's not really, because Prescott's going to finish as the top 12 quarterback. So.
Oh, he's not. He doesn't have.
Yeah, he is.
No way.
Yeah, he is.
No way. No way.
I know you haven't been watching much football, Mike, but yeah.
He had one good week against a shit team.
Okay.
All right, next up, have the Dolphins versus the Bears. Justin Fields finally being a QB worth mentioning.
Game of the week.
Game of the week.
Tell
us why.
Listen, I brought it up real quick last week. Justin Fields, streamable option. I didn't think he'd play that well against Dallas. Puts up fantasy points against Dallas. Now his schedule gets real easy. But the last 3 weeks, these are the stats for Justin Fields. 34 rushing attempts, most in the NFL by quarterbacks. 230 rushing yards, most in the NFL by quarterbacks. 67.8 fantasy points, second most among quarterbacks. I mean, he's becoming a stud before our eyes, and we're still shitting on him. Yeah, he makes bad decisions sometimes, but we don't care how bad his decisions are as long as he's scoring fantasy points, right?
Absolutely.
That's all we want.
Yep.
You add in Chase Claypool, touchdown machine. He'll throw the ball an extra 2 times a game. That's all he needs to score a touchdown. A lot of the pressure off of Darnell Mooney. Not seeing as much double coverage, not seeing anything. This offense could open up.
I really think Claypool going to them was a great pickup for the Bears. I think I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I would have loved it if Claypool would have went to the Green Bay Packers as well.
Yeah,
that would have been awesome. But Bears, I mean, I love Mooney. If you watch the games, Mooney is not a wide receiver 1. He needs to be a wide receiver 2. Not saying that Claypool is a wide receiver 1, but at least you have to have the defenses pay attention to 2 wide receivers instead of just Mooney. Fantasy wise, I don't know if Claypool is going to be huge, but if you watch any games with the Steelers, he gets featured. He gets screenplays and all that, and I feel like they're going to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Huge target, so
he's a guy who can do a lot. He's not great at anything, but he can. Yeah. He's willing to do whatever. He'll run the ball. He'll do the screenplays. He'll block. He'll do whatever you want. So he'll always be on the field. But it's just there's nothing he does so well that people can't defend. It's like you got to make a play for him.
I love if you pick the Mooney after all those bad weeks. It should look good for you. Look good. It's been picking up.
This reminds me so much of the Eagles last year, and what I mean, like Matt Eberflus is doing a good job of changing the entire offense. Like they were trying to run like more of a pro offense, and he was like, "All right, I have a quarterback who's not very accurate, doesn't make great decisions. Well, he's really good with his feet. He makes a lot of plays with his feet. So he's like, you know what? Let's design run plays for him. And it's similar to what like the Eagles' approach was last year. Like, yeah, we have a quarterback not really that great at throwing the football, so let's like run the shit out of the ball. And it's same strategy. Like we're playing to our strengths. And if you own Fields and he's seeing these QB direct runs that are going for touchdowns, and like I like the schedule. He's a stream play, absolutely. Like 20 points a week.
That's what we were quarterback hoping. Next 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. It's not even like he's streamable. If say you're on like somebody who streams every week, you own Marcus Mariota. For the next 3 weeks, I'd rather own Justin Fields than Marcus Mariota. For sure.
Absolutely.
This is going into the year. Everyone talks about, like we think Fields will be valuable because he's going to run a lot, or like he could, carry the offense. And for 6 weeks we didn't see that, and now we are. Now, like finally, Eberflus is like, let's just play to their strength. So rest of the year he could be like a winning quarterback on a fantasy team. He could be your winning quarterback potentially.
Yeah, why you want to trade for him?
No, he reminds me a lot of Hurts last year, where he, just rushing yards king.
I agree.
You wrote Waddle versus Hill for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
I own Waddle, and I would still pick Hill.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you were gonna go the other way.
I can see
you own Waddle.
I can see the argument where you think Waddle will finish with more touchdowns than Hill. Just because I feel like he gets featured more in the end zone, even though Hill is
the person who gets him there.
I think Waddle, he's even though he's short, he plays big in the end zone, so he gets those touchdowns. But Hill is going to be the play. I mean, love any wide receiver that gets 12 targets a game, especially the fastest one in the league. So
yeah, he's 6 games and more than 12 targets. There's never a play that he's not open on at some point. He's just faster than everybody else.
He's the fastest man in the NFL.
How crazy is it that Tua is supporting 2 top 5 wide receivers? Like,
it's crazy. And I also think it's more crazy that they're throwing the ball that much.
Yeah,
that's what's really blowing my mind.
We thought they were going to run the ball a lot with this coach.
I thought McDaniels would have that 49ers West Coast style offense, but really it's a lot of RPO, play action, hit the crossers, and credit to him, like, Tua's just playing average enough to make them, like, it's not hard to hit a guy who's wide open every single play.
Yeah,
like
I can hit Tyreek Hill. I can hit him. It's not hard.
The funny thing is, Tyreek's touchdown, he only has 2 touchdowns. He should have way more if Tua could just throw the ball 5 extra yards. I mean, like, but that's all he has to do is just hit these guys that are running naked down the field.
Currently, Tyreek Hill is number 1.
You think they move on from Tua?
No, not yet.
No, they can't. They should, but they can't. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if they had a big arm QB out there, they'd be winning games a lot. They might push the Bills for the division.
They could do that this year, though. I mean, they already beat them once.
Listen, when it comes time for playoffs, they're going to get blown out by the Bills. By the Bills, let's be real.
We have to go up to cold Buffalo, and things get a little slower in the cold.
Yep. And Josh is just running over your linebackers. Yeah. Real quick, I just wanted to see your guys' temperature on Raheem Mostert this week. Bears give up the second most rushing yards. Do you think that this is like a spot start? Obviously, Jeff Wilson puts a little dent in this, but I don't know how much work he's actually going to see. Do you think that it's capped because the Dolphins' D is garbage, or do you think that it's to be a close game and they can run the ball more than they want to?
I think Wilson can see like 10 carries in this game.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you think Jeff Wilson's going to see 10 carries?
Okay. He could. I think he easily could. He's played with his coach before. I feel like that obviously it's the coach traded for him. He wasn't really that happy with Mostert, so
that I don't know that that's true. I think he wanted insurance because Mostert isn't someone who typically stays healthy. I'm not shocked that Mostert.
Yeah, I think they made that move because Chase Edmonds stinks, and they knew that he was gone. So that's what I thought that move was.
I keep saying they needed more power. Like they have, like Mostert's not like he's kind of a power back just because he's bigger, but he's not really like that's not his thing.
Wilson's
I think Jeff Wilson
better.
gives him I mean, it gives them the power, and I think that's what they were looking for, a mix. But I mean, I've said since the beginning, I always thought Mostert was going to be the running back in this backfield, and I still think that. But they don't run the ball a lot of game. I mean, you're talking they run it maybe 20 times a game. Like it's even if they blow someone out, they tend to still like to sling the rock 30 times, 40 times a game.
You just watch. I have a feeling. Flip it.
Mike's the Black Eyed Peas. He's got a feeling.
I have a feeling it's gonna be a good night. Next up, we have the Packers vs. Lions.
Blowout game coming up.
Run the ball. Hopefully, I have a Dylan hopefully gets more than 10 points.
I would love that.
This week, it would be great. It would be amazing if Dylan could do that.
In one league, I'm in bye week hell, and I have to put AJ Dillon in. I need it. I think it's league I'm playing you in, Mike. I'm pretty sure.
It should be a home run.
In theory.
I promise you,
points to running backs.
AJ Dillon won't even get drafted in the first 12 rounds next year in fantasy.
I'll gladly take him in the 10th round.
And then he'll be a top 5 running back that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like
that's how it works.
He went in the 4th and 5th round of fantasy this year. Nobody is going to touch this man next year in fantasy.
Yeah, it's crazy talk.
I mean, the only reason someone would touch him is if they drop Jones, which I don't think they do.
No, they're not going to drop Aaron Jones.
He has a very friendly running back salary.
Yeah, no way.
I really don't have much else on the Packers. Their wide receiver core, it makes no sense why they didn't trade for a wide receiver. Makes 0 sense.
Yeah, I agree.
But really, the only thing I want to ask is, would you rather own DeAndre Swift or Jamal Williams the rest of the season?
I'm a Jamal. I got Williams all day.
I'm Jamal. I'm on Jamal train. I can't do the DeAndre Swift thing.
Anybody that says like he's not worth like what he was putting up numbers when Swift was there, and he did it again. Mm-hmm. He is a vulture of touchdowns, and he still gets about 60 yards a game, maybe 2 or 3 catches. So I mean, he holds his value regardless if Swift is there.
Yeah, he's a solid running back. Like I don't think anyone's like Jamal Williams is bad. Like he's not bad. He's like slightly above average running back. He gets the job done, like you said. Good goal line vulture. It's DeAndre Swift has like top 5 upside, but the man's made of glass. Like literally, you throw a stone at him and he crumbles, and that's the issue. And I had him last year, and I felt like this was coming. Like I just didn't really trust this man to stay healthy. You're 3 years in the league, and you can't put together more than a 12-game season. Yeah, it's bad. And he got hurt again. He didn't practice today.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like ridiculous.
And I love it.
Yeah. Mike will never put him in the starting lineup, but he loves it.
He has to be in the starting lineup. I'm in
bye week
hell.
Yeah.
All my team is on bye.
So Joe Green, just for clarity, you're Jamal Williams over DeAndre Swift
the rest of the season? Yeah. Well, look at it like this. What are the Lions fighting for, right? They're not fighting for the playoffs. Why are they going to force DeAndre Swift into the games that are meaningless? Like they want to tank. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I can tell you why they do it every year.
No, even last year they didn't really force him into games at the end. I mean, they kind of like gave him. I remember the last week of fantasy, he only had like 5 touches in that game, which was week 16. So
I think I won that trade between Najee and DeAndre Swift somehow.
That's probably like the worst trade ever, and somehow you're gonna win it because DeAndre Swift will never play football again. Also, shout out to the guy in our league who threatened to quit because he said I won the league, and now I'm 1-7. And probably won't the rest of the year.
That's insane.
So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Hashtag fuck him.
Fuck him.
No one's beating me in that league. I just want to say that now.
Okay.
Wait, you don't have it. You're not even gonna make the playoffs.
No, probably not.
That's enough of that shit game. Panthers versus Bengals. D'onta Foreman. Obviously, it's not a fluke. He did it. He did it when he was just. You think he's a fluke? Get the hell out of here. He did it with the Titans. He showed that he could be a serviceable running back. Do I think he's going to have, 30 points like he did last week? No. But against the Bengals, he should see 80 yards, maybe a touchdown. He should be easily a top 20 running back for the remainder of the year.
Top 20? Yeah,
Damn.
I can give you that.
He's not gonna finish ranked 20, but he'll play like it.
Yeah, no, I can see a clear path to that. So he's had back-to-back games, 118 yards each. It's the difference, obviously, 3 touchdowns. He's never doing that again. I do think he's at least a starter, RB2, maybe a flex. But to think it's a fluke, I don't go that far. I think there's definitely a value there because the Panthers kind of want to show McCaffrey that he's not that good, even though he is. That's kind of where I'm getting at with D'onta Foreman is they want to just show that they can do that with anybody, and I think that's what they're going to try to do.
Yeah, I see 3 receiving opportunities, and yeah, I know he ran the ball well and got 3 touchdowns, but I just don't think he's gonna.
The touchdowns aren't going to be there every week, but 118 yards back to back, that's
like I said,
they're doing something.
You should average at least 80 yards a game.
I think that's wild. I guess we'll say
80 yards. They run
80 rushing yards a game.
I mean, Joe Mixon can't even get 25 yards. So
80 yards is a lot, man. You're talking about a guy that'd be if you pace that out over like a full 17-game season. That's like 1,700 yards rushing.
It's been done before.
Season.
It's less than that.
Let's see. Yeah. They play Cincinnati this week. Then they have Atlanta, Baltimore, Denver, then a bye, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Tampa, week 17, which sucks. Outside of Tampa, like he can easily get 80 yards on all of those teams. Like in theory, I don't think he's going to, but I'm just saying in theory, I think he can.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna say he's gonna get 115 one game and then he's gonna get 70, I mean, come on, I'm averaging the 80.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying 80 over a season. That's like 1,400 rushing yards. That'd be pretty wild, but we'll see. We'll see how that one ages.
Yeah.
Talk about your Joe Burrow take,
Mr. Joe Shiesty, quarterback 2. You guys are calling me crazy, Mister. He doesn't run enough. Mm-hmm. Listen, he's down Jamar Chase, still throwing touchdowns. Sorry, I'm a genius. I'm sorry. I had a feeling it was going to be a down year for offenses, and then Joe Shiesty, even though he started slow, Joey iced himself.
He just starts real slow.
He's ahead. He's ahead of all those running quarterbacks.
I want to see though without Chase for the next 3 weeks. It wasn't pretty against the Browns. I knew that was going to happen. Like
that's cute.
You lose your best
Did he score fantasy points?
What do you have? 15? Couldn't have had
20 something.
Did he have 20 something? I just know I lost some fantasy with him. What do you have?
He had. 14.4.
Yeah, I was gonna say 20. I think he got 13.
Going forward, it's gonna look. Your hot take might go bad.
I don't think so. All he did was move up the rankings last week. That's what he did. That's all he did. He was number 3 last week. Guess what? He's number 2 this week.
That's his mom.
He'll go back down when there's more buys. When he has his buy.
Lamar was 2 last week, and now Joe Burrow's 2. So all I'm saying is I'm a fucking genius.
We'll see. I think the Chase injury is very significant to their offense. Yeah.
I mean, last week was also a divisional game, so we're not really weighing in those factors. But Joe Mixon.
I just think.
Any love for Joe Mixon? Ever again?
No.
Well, I don't know if you saw Joe Mixon cost that guy $170,000. Did you see that? It was the last leg of a 17-leg parlay.
But at least he's smart. He put the whole house savings on it.
Yeah, that was smart on the under. Yeah, that was a good move. But I don't know. Mixon's been a mixed bag this year, right?
A couple good games, couple bad games. Touchdowns haven't been there like we kind of said they weren't going to be. You don't score 16 touchdowns one year and then out of nowhere and just think that it's going to repeat. So
no.
Yeah, 3 this year. That's pretty low number.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't have a great game against the Panthers either. So
I think he does. I think it's the opposite. Panthers give up a bunch of yards on the ground. And I think that in order for this offense to kind of get back to where it's supposed to be, they kind of really have to establish the run a little bit more.
I can understand this, yeah.
Yeah.
They should. If they want to be a big playoff team, they have to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
And no Chase. Like, he's going to see receiving work.
Yeah,
we saw it last week.
This offense has to be more play action.
He had 9 targets last game against Cleveland. So, yeah, I mean, there's
7 receptions for 32 yards. More receiving yards from rushing yards last week. That's got to change.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about his outlook for the rest of the year. I don't own him in any league, thank God. I don't think I've owned him since 2-3 years ago, but
never again. Never again.
Commanders, Vikings.
Yes.
Talk about it.
Sorry, my dog's barking. I didn't want to record that. Vikings versus Commanders. Commanders finally possibly getting traded to Amazon. That's what I heard.
Traded? You mean bought by Jeff Bezos?
Bezos is finally going to buy him. Finally forcing them to trade the team.
There's slight rumors about it, but
not slight. Money talks.
I mean, the company that kind of broke the news is the company that he owns. So,
yeah,
slight news.
So, what do we think about Hockenson now going to the Vikings? Obviously, I think that's one of the bigger topics we talk about this matchup.
I think they try to feature him a few times, like especially early on in this game, just to kind of get him like accustomed to the offense. Like, obviously, he's not going to know the playbook very well, so there's a lot of plays he won't be on. But I think early they're going to run a lot of simple stuff. Let him get used to playing with these guys, and I like him moving forward. I think that he'll be used better on the Vikings than he would with Dan Campbell, even though Dan Campbell was a tight end himself. You think he'd want to use the top tight ends?
Yeah, but Dan was a blocking tight end, So
yeah, no love for the receiving, But still, that's
and there's playmakers on Vikings, so he's not going to be covered like he did, playing for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra still, he was still demanding a lot of work. So
before Kyle Pitts, Hockenson was one of the highest drafted tight ends in the league. For a reason.
Yeah, I mean, Irv was supposed to. So Irv can't stay healthy. I'm done drafting Irv Smith.
You're done?
I'm done. That's it. I've been an Irv Smith believer for too long. I'm done. Officially, this is the episode where I'm out on Irv Smith for the rest of his career. Hope you do great. You're never on my fantasy teams ever.
Live a nice life. Retire.
I even picked him up this week to stream him.
You did. I saw that.
Oh, it was brutal. Moving for the rest of the season, I kind of like Hawk. I'm a little interested, not interested enough to make a trade yet, I don't think, but I'm a little interested. I wouldn't hate it if I'm a Hockenson owner.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's clearly an upgrade only because I think their offense is better. Like, it's better structured. It makes more sense than the Lions did. I mean, like, he might have been the first option on the Lions for the last few weeks, but like, it was disgusting. It was like a very murky offense. I don't know where he falls though in the pecking order here. That's where I struggle. Like, is he option 2? Is he 3?
Is he 4?
Is he 4? Like, literally, is he 4 behind like Dalvin Cook even in the passing game?
I think he's 3. Yeah. I don't think they're not really featuring.
Like, I mean, there could be games where he's 2.
Yeah.
Jefferson hasn't been the most consistent person this year, so
he's lost me a bunch of games.
Yeah.
I think you're hoping he's a red zone threat, right? Like, they go down the red zone, play action, Dalvin Cook, right across the middle, hit Hockenson.
Like they used Kyle Rudolph a few years ago.
Could this be a new white on white? Could this be a new white on white crime? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, well, I tweeted out right after the trade that picture of the guy having a boner looking at the fantasy roster, and that was Kirk Cousins when he saw this trade go down.
Yeah.
But
Cousins definitely throwing to him. I'm telling you. White on white crime is going to happen.
Yeah. I don't like anything on the Commanders ever outside of Scary Terry.
I mean, at least Scary Terry's getting featured now that they have a QB that throws to him.
Yep. Besides that, it's too hard to predict what running back's going to get the ball. One week
their backfield's a disaster.
Yeah, it's 1 week is going to be Gibson, 1 week is going to be Robinson. I'm done with it.
When we think we figured one out, it would be McKissick out there catching.
Oh no, I hate that guy so much.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. Like even Ron Rivera is starting to realize, like Antonio Gibson's a talented player. There's no question about it. Like he's athletic, he's fast, he's quick. He's not a great in between the tackles runner, and that's where Brian Robinson's good. The problem is Brian Robinson got shot in the fucking leg, and like he clearly is not. He's clearly not ready to play. Like he's not in perfect shape. So it's like, all right, I can't run the guy who just got shot in the leg. And I hate this guy because he fumbles, but he's better than the guy who got shot in the leg. So I'm going to go with him. Also, I have a hot take on Taylor Heineke. I think Taylor Heineke is the modern day Tim Tebow. I say modern, even though that Tim Tebow was only like 7 years ago. But the man sucks 90% of the game. But if the game's on the line, Taylor Heineke gets the job done every time. Makes no sense. He sucks, though, 90% of the time. But if it's a close game, he'll get the win somehow.
Listen, there's going to be a couple playoff teams that are going to need wins, and going against the Commanders, I'd hate to be that guy. Because Taylor Heineke, there's nothing scarier than a man with nothing to lose, man. He's playing with house money.
He wants the Jays. He's collecting Jays.
You saw that.
He wants the Jays.
Yeah.
He's collecting every color of the rainbow.
Listen, I'm about it. Taylor Heineke ruining some playoff hopes and dreams. Like the Giants.
Oh, God.
Whoa. Don't put my team.
Oh, God.
Next up, we have the Seahawks versus the Cardinals. Obviously, Hopkins is going to have 20 catches each week, like we planned on it. The next up, the Robin to the Batman. Can Rondale Moore be that next guy up?
This is my thing. I own Rondale Moore in 2 leagues. Is he somebody you can play every week?
That's the question.
That's kind of what I'm struggling with. So I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Somebody who doesn't own him, tell me.
I want to have him in my lineup.
Same.
I do, because I know how bad this Cardinals defense is. And I know how bad, Murray wants to show everybody that, COD just came out and you got to play out.
Yeah.
So I want to say he does, and I like that. I liked last week that Murray went started yelling at the coach. I did like that.
Yeah.
And can he see that many targets? I think so. I'm not that high on Anderson being traded to the team. So.
Oh, that's not true. You were very high on it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was, but I changed my mind.
All right. Would you rather start Kirk Cousins or Rondale Moore?
What? How is that what? Kirk Cousins?
I mean, Christian Kirk. I'm sorry.
Christian Kirk.
Oh, I was like,
I was a little confused.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. Give me answers.
This week I'm gonna go Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week.
Who did the Jaguars? Raiders.
Oh. Yeah.
I would go Christian Kirk. Raiders secondary.
I don't know. Ward had a huge week last week. I have a feeling he's gonna have another good week. I want to see what Hopkins is with him. Both of them.
I'm officially going Christian Kirk one more week, only because they're playing the Raiders, and then the rest of the season's going.
I don't hate
more.
I don't hate it.
That's where I'm at. DK is questionable. Do you think he's going to play this week? Is there any update on him?
No, but I think he plays. He played last week, and they're expecting him to miss a couple of games.
Also, while we were talking here, Austin Eckler got added to the injury report. Not really what you want to hear. Yeah, abdominal injury.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't need those.
Don't need those. Don't need your.
What was wrong with him? What hurt?
Abdominal injury. Just says. Yeah, probably. That actually is pretty close to that. So.
Yeah. Outside of this, besides Geno still just being great and Tyler Lockett being a sleeping top 12 wide receiver this year.
Everyone thought it was Metcalf, and it was Lockett. The man. Lock it in.
I was a little surprised that the Seahawks didn't try to run the ball more last week against the Giants. Seemed like a juicy matchup with Kenneth Walker. Do you think that phase is over? That Kenneth Walker's just going to be blown by people every week?
No, I just think that obviously if you watch the game, Giants just kept it was like one-on-one outside all day. Giants just knew they had to stop the run. Cardinals, I don't think they could stop anything. So.
All right. That was my last question on that game. I really don't have much else.
Next up, Rams versus Bucks. Hopefully, Cup misses time so I can win a championship.
Same.
A-Rob had a decent game finally. Looked good.
When I wrote this, it was before they said that Cup was definitely going to play. But I thought it was great.
I think Cup said that. Cup should play this week, unfortunately, but
no, we hope he plays. We hope he plays.
I hope he plays and gets hurt again. This is the idea.
For anybody who's not in our league, we hope he doesn't get hurt. But in this particular instance, we hope he gets hurt.
It's tough. I'm going on my 3-peat, and Cooper Kupp is just.
I mean, your team's falling apart at the seams.
Falling apart.
And if you go against me in the playoffs, your whole team will get hurt. So
that's a fact.
That's a fact.
It's fact.
Mike needs to.
I have a voodoo doll. So
yeah, I'm convinced. Yeah, but I will say I thought the Cup thing, him getting hurt this year, was a tad predictable. When earlier in the year I realized he's the only player they could throw the ball to. Through 3 weeks, it was like, yeah, it's just Cooper Kupp. There's no one else.
I'm really surprised.
Every now and then, sprinkle some Tyler Higbee in.
I'm surprised they didn't trade for Cooks. I'm really surprised.
They tried. I know. They tried.
They tried. I'm surprised they didn't get it.
They wanted a second and a fourth. I would never give that for Brandon Cooks. That's absurd.
No.
But
probably get like 3 more concussions with the Rams like he did. Henderson is probably the only run. What about this Williams guy? When is he playing? Playing this week?
Well, Kyron was supposed to play last week, and
they didn't activate him, but they didn't even play Henderson. They went with that dude Ronnie Rivers, who was a practice squad player, and he was terrible too. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what Kyron. Oh, Cam Akers is back. They brought him to practice, so we might see Cam Akers out there again soon. But
great, another bad running back.
Let's add them all.
They're just trying to find Todd Gurley again. That's what they're doing. That's their next move. Is call Todd Gurley. Like, hey, you want to come out of retirement? We need another bad running back.
I'm holding. Like, obviously, I own Kyron Williams in a couple leagues. I'm holding to see what he looks like this week. Like, I just want to get a glimpse. Like, he's not gonna. I wouldn't play him, and there's no way I'd play him.
You're just not gonna drop him.
I want to see. Yeah, I kind of just want to see it. Like, let's see how he looks on the field. I know he's not that athletic from watching him at Notre Dame, but I'm curious. Like, all right, maybe he's better at, I don't know, being nifty between the tackles. I'm just kind of hoping to see what it looks like.
I mean, it's hard to do that when your tackles are lying on the ground, but that's kind of where that running attack goes. Just nowhere. On the Bucs side, it's brutal too, man. It's like outside of Mike Evans and even Godwin hasn't been phenomenal this year.
My only question is are we slowly seeing White take over for
yeah, I mean, I said this 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, but I think you were 4 weeks too early. But
no, it wasn't. I saw the proof is in the pudding. That's all it was.
This is I purposely picked up White knowing that this could happen.
I think it's like if you just watch them, like Fournette just clearly is not explosive right now, and Rachaad White is. And I think they're hanging on to this veteran thing. Like they just love their veteran players, but it's like, man, you can't run the ball with Fournette. And like he's not even that great as a passer right now either. Like Rachaad White's actually doing great as a pass protector. I hope as a Rachaad White owner that they start starting him, but they kind of go down with the ship. They can
easily just switch right now and just go to wait for playoff Lenny later on. So
yeah, they might.
That's assuming they make it.
Yeah.
I mean, they might wait to see that happen until they have a bye week 11. I think that's kind of where they'll probably make that call where like, oh, Fournette's not that guy anymore. You know, we overused him early in the season. We overused him in the playoffs, and he's not that guy anymore.
Yeah, I would hold on to Rachaad White though. If you own him,
I'm holding him. Yeah. I have both. I have Fournette and I have White.
Yeah,
can't drop them. Won't drop them. All right, let's talk about these Titans versus the Chiefs. We have the 8 p.m. game for us Easterners. Derrick Henry going for his 300 yards against this week. Going against the Chiefs.
Yeah, he has more games with 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns against the Texans than any other player ever against any team. Like,
insane.
It's 4 games. He's done that 4 times to them now. And 2 of them he was out at halftime.
The beauty is he has them again this year too.
Mm-hmm. We know.
in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and you somehow got a cheap trade for him.
Yeah, because if I didn't forget, you said, "Oh, I offered him this trade." He wouldn't even.
Literally 20 minutes later,
he didn't even
accepted
sniff it. We did off, and bang, trades there.
Same exact thing he offered too. It's like, oh yeah, he said no right away. Oh, did he?
He did the week before I offered him that. He said no. He gave it. Well, look what happened a week later. Dameon Pierce had a good game. He's like, you know what? I'll take it. It's a keeper.
And I'm blamed for the win. I'm blamed for Jesse losing when you made that trade.
Well, that's because he gave me Greg Dolch for a week.
It's unbelievable you gave him Greg Dolch for a week. It's just,
I know. I took a.
It's not okay. You guys are all colluding against me. I see how it is.
I took a.
You see your boy
in the tight end box for that.
You see your boy go no running back. Hey, he's just eating 5-3 with no first round pick, and you guys are getting worried. So you guys are colluding to keep me out of the playoffs. I see how it is.
I told you I don't want to see you in the playoffs.
No, nobody wants to.
Don't. ETN in the playoff schedule is great.
Yeah. Let's get back to this game, I guess.
All right. Let's talk about the Titans. There's just Henry. There's not even a wide receiver anywhere on that team. I think Burks is finally going to come back, I think.
Not this week.
It's turf toe, man. He died.
No, I think they said the earliest would be the Broncos game, which is next week, and most likely the Packers game in 2 weeks. Obviously, we don't even know if Tannehill is going to play, which if he doesn't play, oh boy, they ain't moving the ball.
They're just going to run the ball. They're just going to run the ball. That's all they're going to do.
With the Giants, they're going to just have the Giants game plan, run the ball and pray.
Well, that's the Titans game plan the Giants stole. Let's be honest here.
Tannehill at least was throwing a little bit.
The Chiefs don't really allow any rushing yards, but it's not because they're a stout run defense. They just are usually winning by 20 points. So I think that Derrick Henry will still be able to do whatever he really wants. They're just going to be down big. I don't see a way unless the Titans D really shuts down the Chiefs, which I don't think they can. I don't really see a way the Titans are really going to compete in this game, and it's going to be over before it started.
I don't know. I think it'll be closer if Tannehill plays, but if he doesn't play, and it's Malik Willis.
No, Malik Willis stinks. I told you guys that before the season started. He's bad at football, and you saw it.
I agree.
It's not fair.
What do you mean it's not fair?
It's not fair.
Let me see a couple more games before I.
He just can't throw a football right now. He just can't. He's not good at it.
I mean, if Heineke can have a career, why can't Malik Willis?
Well, like I said, the modern day Tebow is in effect with Heineke, but I mean, I'm not saying he can't have a career, but.
So, Joe Green, tell us, what do you think about the Chiefs trade for Tony?
Yeah, that's I forgot about that trade. We didn't cover it last week. I mean, I love Tony as a talent. I think the fact that it seemed like he didn't even want to play for the Giants at the end there. But I don't know that he has an impact this year for them. I feel like if he does, it's in the playoffs. And I think it's like in redraft leagues, it's tough to imagine playing Tony unless he sees 7 targets each week. But in Dynasty, keeper, there's value long term, assuming he stays healthy too, which is a massive question mark considering how many games has the guy played? Less than 10 in his career. I
think he's the biggest trade. To read this trade, I have no idea what to do. I have no idea.
What do you
mean? Would I be shocked if he goes for 200 yards? Not this game. Maybe next game. I wouldn't be shocked.
No.
If he doesn't see the field for 3 weeks, I wouldn't be shocked either.
He's playing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he's not injured.
Magically healed.
Healed.
Yeah, 10 games in his career. Yeah, I don't know. I'm. That's the only problem, I think. And I don't think you're going to see immediate impact. But we'll see. I think Juju's been playing well, too. I think it'd be silly to start taking targets away from Juju.
I do agree. I don't think Juju should lose targets.
No, I think if there's anybody, it's going to be the other guy, Hardman.
Valdez Scantling. Oh, Hartman. Okay.
I think Hardman. He's a better Hardman.
Is he though? We don't know that.
I do know that.
No, we don't though. We haven't seen him do it for a whole year. I'm just playing devil's advocate. We haven't seen him do it consistently.
If he's on the field, he's a better Hardman.
How many times has he played this year?
2.
Twice.
How many fantasy points does he have?
Probably 5.
Yeah, I don't even think he has 5.
I don't even know. I'd have to look.
He has like 4 catches, 3 catches.
He's got 4 targets. That's what I think.
Actually, I don't even think he has a catch. I think you're right.
No, he has catch. He has a
target.
catch.
He has a catch, does he?
Yeah.
I see 2 rushing attempts.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, he has.
He's the next Tyreek Hill, let me tell you.
He has 2 receptions for 0 yards and 2 carries for 23 yards.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I can't read him. I can't because he is the Joker and he fucking just plays with everybody.
I wouldn't be shocked if he went out there and was Randy Moss the rest of the season, and then I wouldn't be shocked if he went out there and was Devin Funchess the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying.
Fair.
I don't know.
I do agree. We're all in the same thing. We're all saying it different ways.
Yeah.
I'm more of like, he hasn't shown me shit. You got to show me. He showed me in 1 game last year.
And this, you want to know why? This is the exact reason why he sat on my fucking bench and I haven't dropped his ass. Because I knew something was going to happen. And I still don't know what's going to happen. And I can't drop him because, you know what? Once I drop him, he's going to go for 300.
100% worth the stash. Absolutely would stash him just in case. I mean, it's a long shot, but it's worth it.
All right, that's all we have for this game. Next up, Ravens versus Saints. Honestly, this is probably one of the best matchups of this week. Kamara scored another TD. He had 3 last week.
Yeah. Finally. It was first rushing touchdown. He had 3 of them.
So,
You're right.
Do you think Taysom Hill is going to take a touchdown this week?
Yep. Fully prepared.
Probably.
Fully prepared for him to get like 7 carries.
Those who don't know, Michael Thomas is out again for the remainder of the season.
They didn't officially say.
I saw somewhere it said
he's getting surgery and he's done. He's done.
Rapport said likely done for the season.
Yeah.
He's done. So Bateman, Billy's guy, he's out for the remainder of the season.
Yep.
He lied to us all. He was not the featured wide receiver everyone thought he would be.
Yeah.
Devin Duvernay.
I'll never get over that.
Do you think Winston ever gets back his starter role?
Nope.
No.
I don't think so either.
Nope. Offense moves
we don't
way
want
better with Walton.
We don't want to.
No. If you own Kamara,
Yep, that's why I'm saying no. I own Kamara in 2 leagues. No, absolutely not.
You own Kamara? No way. What did Jameis ever give 10 targets to Kamara in a passing game? Nope. No way. I want him playing again.
Mm-hmm. Never again. Everybody was rushing to pick up Isaiah Likely, my sleeper. Just a quick thing. You shouldn't expect much. Saints second best against tight end. Don't allow any
this
points.
Week.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rough week. I don't know the extent of Mark Andrews' injury. They said it's not serious, but they didn't really give much more.
What do you think of Likely's playability going forward for the rest of the season?
I love when you just make words up.
Playability.
Receivability.
I used this word last week. Playability.
What do you mean by his playability this week?
What's his future look like? Likely.
Oh, like in future years? I love Isaiah.
No, not future years. The remainder of the year.
Same this season.
With Bateman out.
With Bateman out, it could be interesting because he can line up out wide. I don't know how great the Ravens' passing attack truly is. They are playing Deshaun Jackson this week. He got activated and will be playing, so it's a little interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't trade for a wide receiver.
They tried. There were another one that tried and couldn't get a deal done.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like Likely. I think, yeah, this one is a tough matchup for them, but I mean, they have no one else to throw the ball to this week. It could work against them, considering they'll probably just take them out of coverage.
Devin Duvernay.
Yeah, Devin Duvernay. But I think his outlook, I think at least for the next few weeks, I think Andrews is going to be out longer than we think, or then they're leading on. I think he's
That's
going to
what
miss
I
4
was
games.
thinking too, but like every report says it's not serious. It's not serious, which kind of leads me to believe it is serious.
It's like the Waller injury.
Well,
Could be.
it's different.
It's a shoulder,
this
right?
Is a shoulder.
No, different,
Yeah.
different. But like they're just not saying anything.
Shoulder's important for a tight end.
When you don't practice, like when you say it's not major, and then you don't practice at all the following week, I lean to think that they're not really telling you the truth.
Especially when it's like a shoulder injury, like you should be able to practice.
I have a feeling he has a partially torn labrum or something. Like it's got to be something like that.
We love that if you're Isaiah Likely owner. We love that.
Yeah.
Which you could go probably be an owner if you don't pick him up.
Yeah, he could be.
He was available in every single one of the leagues we're in together.
Yep.
Like I mean, you could scoop them up in anything. Yep. So
I need a win in most of those leagues this week, and I can't risk it on a guy who might score 2 fantasy points.
Well, this matchup is not good, but
that's kind of where I'm going. I can't be holding on to 3 tight ends, you know?
That is a problem. And that's why, in other leagues, I was like, do I pick up a guy who's going to be my 3rd tight end? No, not especially when most leagues I have a pretty good tight end. It's kind of silly to own 3.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? I don't think so.
All right.
No.
Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe.
Let's go Texans.
Let's go Texans.